My female 24 sister 29 has a toddler girl. Her pregnancy was very rough, she was very sick, her husband and she separated in the middle of her pregnancy, and she didn't have a lot of support from our parents, which isn't their fault. They were low contact before she got pregnant because of some stuff my sister and her husband did. Lately, they've been back in touch and are fixing their relationship. I'm 35 weeks pregnant as well, and my pregnancy hasn't been entirely hard. My husband and I have a good relationship, even better now, I'd say. My relationship with my parents and our siblings has always been good too, and besides some minor inconveniences, my pregnancy has been going great so far. My mother is planning to move in with us for 1 or 2 weeks, we'll see, after I give birth to help me out, which is something she didn't do for my sister. We discussed this last Saturday because our parents had a family dinner and we were invited. Our parents and sister-in-law, brother's wife, also asked me about my pregnancy and if we were preparing for the baby. We were not only talking about me and my baby, like we were all having normal conversations about work, politics, football and stuff we regularly discuss. However, when I told them about my last checkup, my sister told me it was wrong to brag. I asked her what she meant because I wasn't bragging at all. She told me that talking about how perfect my pregnancy has been so far is bragging. Once again, I told her I wasn't bragging. My mom backed me up on that. Yeah, well, my sister blew up as soon as our mother spoke. She accused me of being mean, a golden child, wanting to drag the attention back to me, being overbearing, etc. She said I'm enjoying that she and her daughter are second-class citizens in our family because she's sure that everyone will spoil my baby as they spoil me. I'm faking weakness to gain sympathy and have everyone pampering me. I told her not to blame me for her mistakes because it was her fault and not mine if she didn't have a great support system. She called me a selfish and spoiled brat, and I called her a bitter and envious witch. She also fought with our parents and my husband. Lastly, our dad told her to leave. I admit that my husband and I stayed a bit longer and we were all talking badly about her. Now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if I made a mistake. Our whole family is rethinking if they want to go low contact with her again, so I don't know. I'm just doubting myself. Am I the idiot? Edit, our family's problem with her was regarding some jewellery she inherited from our grandmother. She pawned them to go on an expensive vacation with her husband. She got some of it back but lost a necklace that had been in our family for generations. We all loved our grandmother and valued these things since they were important to her. She never acknowledged her mistake or apologised, which is the worst of this, because if she had at least apologised and said that she was very sure and she'd be able to get the items back, then it would have been different, I think. She knows she hurt us but never even apologised for hurting our feelings and our grandma's memory. And all of this happened before she got pregnant. This was just the last straw for our parents to go low contact, since my sister and her husband constantly disrespected our family's feelings over and over again. Also, one of our brothers is in no contact with her and her ex-husband since they refused to pay for the car he sold them. They had agreed on a price, but then they stopped paying. Also, they were always talking about an ED I had when I was a teenager, and they kept insinuating I was sick again. Another example is the first thing my sister told me the day of my wedding was that I looked like my dress was swallowing me because I was too skinny. They said that my husband looked like he was an alcoholic who would beat me. They also made comments about our other brothers and sisters-in-law. Everyone's the idiot here. She's taking out her anger on you, but your family sounds lovely. You can be upset with her, but man, you can't expect to rebuild a relationship with her when you guys literally crap-talked her for a long period after she left. I may not get along with my sister all the time, but I don't crap-talk her the second she leaves. It makes me wonder if she's correct about you being the golden child. Did she get treated less than in childhood? And P.S. You may be upset that she sold family heirlooms, but they were hers to sell. She didn't steal them. It sucks and I get it, but I wouldn't destroy a family over heirlooms. She can do what she wants with it, but her family has every right to judge her for it. I hate the "but it was her property" argument. But expensive vacations aren't a need either. She chose to be disrespectful. Good Lord. I could be forgiving if she'd pawned something because she was desperate and had no other way to pay for her house or food or something, but for a vacation? They have a right to feel a certain way about it. Also, pawn shops would only pay a small fraction of their worth, so she easily could have sold them back to the family for a good price. I'm going with "you are the idiot" if this all boils down to she sold an heirloom. You'll need counselling. I get it was an heirloom, but some people truly don't have that sentimental attachment to stuff like that. The responses that said she could have given it to someone in the family, were you all going to give her the worth of the necklace? No. You talk like she deserves everything coming to her, like she's some evil being unworthy of support, simply because she sold sentimental jewelry that she inherited. She's right, you did throw things in her face, especially when you went and blamed her for her lack of a support system, like you and your family didn't also choose to go low contact and not support her because you disapproved of what she did with her inheritance. I get the feeling she's absolutely on the mark when she calls you out for being the golden child. Your sister is treated as less than you. She deserves a better family. I am very annoyed. I have 2 daughters-in-law, and this is about Amy. Amy is very sensitive. This isn't always a bad thing, but there have been multiple times when she started crying over small things. She started crying when I informed her my childhood dog, over 40 years ago, was dead. For this reason, my son is highly protective of her. Also, she's not compatible with the outdoors, to be honest. She's clumsy, which usually results in her falling and getting hurt. The worst case was when she fell and scraped her knee and started bawling. I truly thought someone was dying or extremely hurt. It was a scraped knee. Instead of feeling like an adult relationship, it feels like I have to babysit her all the time. Not to mention walking on eggshells, or she might cry. My 2 daughters have also felt this way, and when we bring it up, my son will not entertain the conversation. I don't know what's going on with her, but we've raised our complaints before and nothing has changed. So I'm planning a camping trip, and I invited my other daughter-in-law and my daughters. For the reasons above, I didn't ask Amy. Not everyone has to be invited to everything. She's still invited to all full family trips, holidays and get-togethers. She also has never invited me out, which is fine. The trip is next weekend. They came over to pick up the kids and asked me to babysit next week. I turned it down since I'll be gone. They learned about the trip and I wasn't going to lie. Amy got quiet and asked why she wasn't invited. I told her this was just a trip with them. She got quiet and my son got angry and told me I should have invited her. I reiterated to them that this wasn't a family trip. Nothing was working. After going in a circle, I had enough. I told them I didn't invite her because I didn't want her there. I will not be giving invites to someone I don't want at the event. You don't get invited everywhere. They both need to be adults and understand. If they can't get that through their heads, I will bring up every family vacation they took where I didn't get an invite. They both called me an idiot. Yeesh, do you realize you just torched the relationship with your son, right? And burned what flimsy bridge you had with your daughter-in-law to the ground? Honestly, you come across as an absolute judgy idiot. Fine, you didn't invite her. You could have been more tactful or delicate about how you told her, especially since you're aware she's sensitive. It comes across like you intended to hurt her to prove your point. You are the idiot in general. I'm not sure I'd want to be invited anywhere if a scraped knee is the equivalent of a fractured femur to the drama queen of the hour, and extending an invitation to her after she throws a temper tantrum is probably how she wound up as a grown woman with the emotional discipline of a toddler. OP is not the idiot. But the son is if he thinks we all want to cater to his grown princess in Pampers. We had a family gathering last weekend. I was there with my, female 25, son, preschooler, and my husband, my brother, 31, his wife and 2 daughters, kindergartner and pre-tween. When we got to our parents' house, my brother and his family weren't there yet. I helped our mom prepare some food, while Dad and my husband were outside cooking the barbecue. I'm pregnant, so I have very strong cravings. For now, I'm still in the normal kind of cravings. LOL, I have a craving for cherries, so as we still had some time before eating, I decided to go to the store to get some. My son wanted to go with me, and he asked me to get him ice cream, so we went to the store and got the cherries, some other stuff for lunch and an ice cream cone for him. He can't eat it in the car, so once we got to my parents' house again, he unwrapped his cone and started eating. Once we got inside, I found out that my brother and his family were already there too. I didn't know because I didn't see their car. Sister-in-law greeted us and their younger daughter said she wanted ice cream too. Sister-in-law told her to ask me, but I'd only bought one for my son, so she started crying. Sister-in-law and my brother tried calming her down and said they'd get her ice cream later, but she was throwing a tantrum and saying she wanted ice cream now. Okay, one thing led to another and they started blaming me because I should have predicted this would happen and bought ice cream for all the kids. They were not there when I left and I didn't even see their car parked outside, so I couldn't have known they were already there. My brother said I still knew they were coming, so I could have bought the extra ice cream and given it to my nieces when they arrived. I told them I wasn't thinking about them, only that my son wanted ice cream and that was it. It's not like I did it purposely to upset their kids. They kept treating me like I was some sort of evil witch or something, telling me that I wouldn't like it if they did something like this to my son, saying I was selfish and all that. My sister-in-law and their youngest daughter left, and immediately after eating, my brother and oldest kid left as well. They're angry with me. Our parents and my husband tell me they're exaggerating. Supposedly their youngest had a fever, so that's why she acted out. She was upset. I think all of this definitely didn't help at all with her sickness. But also, I just bought something for my kid. I don't understand how I'm such an idiot because of this. So, I don't know, am I wrong here? You are the idiot. You knew it was a family gathering and other kids would come. You also knew that your son wouldn't have been able to eat in the car. It wasn't that big of a deal to buy a box with several ice cream cones. You didn't think about it. I wasn't thinking about them, only for my son, which is a mildly idiotic thing to do. Ain't the end of the world. They should get over it pretty soon, but something like that can stick with your niece's impression of you, so yeah, you might want to start thinking about more than just your nuclear family in the future. Good God, no, you're not the idiot. Another child's tantrum is not your fault or responsibility. Your niece did exactly what she should have done. She asked her mother. Then your sister-in-law just expects you to produce ice cream for your niece? You aren't the magic ice cream fairy, LOL. And with the way some parents tightly control sugar for their kids, you weren't wrong not to make assumptions that it would be okay to bring extra for your nieces. That would have made it impossible for them to say no if you had. This feels like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. You're not the idiot. Your brother and sister-in-law, though? Wow. My girlfriend and I have been together for 3 years and have been living together for 2. We're discussing marriage and when it would likely happen. I'm a software engineer and so is she. We both make 6 figures, so money isn't much of an issue, and we each own our own home, although we're living in mine and renting hers out. She's been really tired from work and complains about being tired. I've told her that once we have kids, she can be a stay-at-home mom, and she told me there's no way she would agree to that. I just assumed she wanted her career and left it at that, but one of her friends is thinking of being a stay-at-home mom. They've been talking over the phone and in person, and one day over the phone my girlfriend told her, "Don't do it, he's going to be abusive and then your life will be ruined. At least work part-time. You said your job will accommodate." I asked her later on if her friend's husband was abusive and she said not yet. I asked her what she meant, and she says she believes if one person has financial power over another, they will no longer respect the other person and probably will end up abusing them. I was shocked she thought this and asked her if that's why she refuses to be a stay-at-home mom, and she said yes. I asked her why she thinks I would abuse her, and she said she doesn't think I would abuse her now or if we both remain working and have our own assets, but men are told so much about how women are only after their money. They don't see or appreciate the work stay-at-home moms have to do. Since, according to her, most guys do not appreciate it anyway and just feel like they're being used for their money, they will lose respect for their partner and begin to resent them. I told her I know how much work it is to be a stay-at-home mom, and she got mad and said I'm just paying lip service, and guys always say that until they have to pay for their wife as a dependent, which is when they get resentful. They see them making money as their authority and will begin making decisions without their wife's input. She said she knows so many stay-at-home moms who have their lives ruined when they quit a good-paying job to stay at home and then have to go back to work years later when their husbands lose respect for them and cheat on them. She says she knows it's happening so many times she knows she'll be crazy not to learn from them and keep working. I got mad and told her just because she has trust issues doesn't mean guys are monsters, and we do not mind taking care of a woman who's staying at home with our children. She said, lip service is easy to pay, and refused to discuss it anymore. Sorry, but you are the idiot. Look man, the saying goes, if you give someone the power to feed you, you also give them the power to starve you. You say you would never, and I'm sure you wouldn't, but that's what is always said. Be offended, that's your prerogative. But like for a woman, it's like playing Russian roulette. You insist you're not a loaded chamber, but she can't ever really know that unless she pulls the trigger. And if you're not an empty chamber, the consequences are dire. I'd rather not pull that trigger and find out. She sounds smart. I'm divorcing after 25 years of marriage, both engineers. This exact thing happened to me. Yes, power corrupts. We were equals until I raised the kids, and I lost my value to him as he got more and more successful in his career. Last year, he dared to tell me his young new swim coach was an achiever and that I should try it sometime. Seriously, I gave up everything for that man, and he thought he could do better. I agree with her. No woman should be financially dependent on a man. We actually do not mind taking care of a woman who is staying at home with our children. Dude, in that scenario, she would be taking care of you. Comments like that suggest she has you accurately pegged as someone with some of the underpinning ideologies she's concerned about. Having to do tedious and repetitive chores and child routines every day is not being taken care of in the slightest.